Interesting that I just did a bed bucking video on Mark Robinson for those comments he made back in 2021 saying that Black Americans owed America reparations for whatever blaspheming reasons he gave. Because in that same video, somebody, I can't remember what subscriber it was, but shout out to them, in the chat had left a comment about something he recently said, or maybe not maybe recently said, but something that recently got pulled up about him, or some stuff he says. And that's why I put on the thumbnail, he's now on their radar. Because it says, according to People, which is the article I'm going to read from, it says North Carolina Lieutenant Governor mocked school shooting survivors in unearthed Facebook rants. And I think it's some other stuff that came out about him as well. And see, the thing is, this is what happens when you get too comfortable with them people and thinking they ain't going to try to pull the rug from underneath you. Although with his big ass, it's probably going to take a few people to pull that rug. It says Republican Mark Robinson, a current candidate for governor, once called school shooting survivors spoiled little bastards in a Facebook post and justified the shooting of protesters on a podcast. North Carolina Republican Mark Robinson, the state's lieutenant governor and a contender for governor in 2024, once called school shooter survivors spoiled little bastards and justified the shooting of protesters, according to old social media posts in a 2018 podcast unearthed by CNN's K-File. Now peep that. From 2018, that's older than the audio that y'all heard when he told black people, Black Americans in particular, that we owed America reparations. So they went back even further to pull this up. I hope that this puts a chapter closing on him running for governor, but we shall see. Following the 2018 shooting at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida, I kind of figured that's what shooting he was talking about, but I didn't want to jump to conclusions. Robinson took to Facebook to lambaste the teenage survivors who were advocating for stricter gun control policies, calling them spoiled, angry, know-it-all children, and he put children in all caps. He goes on to say spoiled little bastards and media prostitutes, which I guess is his rearranging of the word prostitutes. In another post published just 6 days after the shooting, in which a gunman killed 17 people, including students and teachers, Robinson shared a photo of a group of survivors along with the caption, "The look you get when you let the devil give you a ride on a river of blood to 15 minutes of Fameville." This guy speaks like he's one of them people. He literally thinks he's one of those PC individuals that says the same stuff that they say. Or the same stuff he's saying right now. But we know where he's getting his talking points from. This guy probably has a bunch of Thomas Sowell books in his library. Robinson also mocked gun control activists on Twitter, sharing one photo of a protester at the March for Our Lives rally with the caption, "They live, they breathe, they'll procreate, hashtag funny but scary." CNN also reported on the 2018 podcast in which Robinson spoke about protesters, saying in reference to the 1970 shooting of students at Kent State protesting the Vietnam War, "We need some politicians in office in some of these cities that's going to let people know from the get-go, you go in the street and block traffic. If you block buildings, if you destroy property, you are going to be dealt with swiftly and harshly. We are not going to tolerate it." He's literally using the same talking points that a lot of these right-leaning pundits or pieces of shit say all the time. So when you think about what he's saying here, and then what he said as it pertains to us, foundational Black Americans, in our reparations, he literally is of the same mindset as they are. They literally are mentally linked. They just look completely different. He probably thinks he's one of them. But they'll show him. I always told people, these buck dancing Sambos and Sambettes, they gonna get their wake up call from the people who ask they kiss the most. And he's probably getting it right now because he probably didn't think this was gonna come back up and bite him in the ass. I always tell you, the internet is forever. The Republican is currently lieutenant governor serving under Democrat Roy Cooper in what is largely a ceremonial role, but he now has his eyes set on higher office, announcing his candidacy for governor in April. Robinson has courted controversy in recent years, such as when he delivered sermons in 2021 and in 2023 littered with anti-academy rhetoric. There's no reason anybody anywhere in America should be telling any child about transgenderism, homosexuality, any of that filth, Robinson said in a speech to the congregation of Asbury Baptist Church in June 2021. In a 2023 sermon, Robinson spoke similarly. Makes me sick every time I see it when I pass a church that flies that rainbow flag, which is a direct spit in the face to God Almighty. Following widespread condemnation for those remarks, Robinson has doubled down. Of course he has. His ego is about as inflated as he is physically. His ego is literally as big and as wide as you see him in this picture right here. And I can guarantee, I don't know when this picture was taken. Oh, I think it was from this year, so it is recent. So I was about to say compare it to another image of him. But if you look at that video from 2021, nothing in his weight class has much really changed, just looking like a big ball of hot air, blowing a ball of hot air. But that's what he said. Now, I don't know how they're going to respond to this, but all I'm going to say is this. He is now officially on their radar. They are going to be keeping a close, watchful eye on him if they weren't already watching him already. And clearly they have, because they had to reach back to 2018 and pull that up. And that's typical when it comes to politics or politicians. They're always going to pull stuff from your past to use against you. And I can pretty much guarantee that whenever those debates come up, they're going to bring that up. The only thing is that they put it out there for public consumption now, so he most likely knows about it. So it's giving him enough time to prepare for when they do bring that question up, or whenever his opponent, whoever he goes against, is going to bring it up. And I'm very curious to see what he's going to say. But like when you listen to the stuff that he says about us and about what he said as it pertains to the article that I read, he is no different mentally than of those white right-leaning individuals who spew this rhetoric day in and day out like it's the gospel truth. See, my thing is this. If you knew you was going to run for office or hold a political position, you should have known that they were going to pull this stuff back up. But see, he probably feels that he can't be touched because he's like, well, I put this stuff out there. I have a lot of people that believe in me, that will support me. And, you know, it's mainly PC individuals that are going to back him up with the stuff that he says. And the crazy part about it is, even with all of the stuff that I just read, he might actually win. That's the crazy but not surprising or even weirder part. He might actually pull out the W and become the governor of North Carolina. And then you can only hope or wonder what he's going to do. This guy might actually try to be a shell of Ron the Snowflake down there in Florida. Just off of the rhetoric that he's spewing alone. I wonder how many times this dude uses the bastardized version of woke per day. I bet he uses it very often. The only thing that, or the only place I should say, that Mark Robinson needs to run to is a damn gym. That's the only place he needs to be running to.